So can you introduce yourself for us?
Sure. My name is Ingra, and my daughter's name is Octavia, and she's 19 years old.
Your daughter has what type of cancer?
She had leukemia.
Leukemia. And when was she diagnosed?
She was diagnosed June 26th of 2007.
Okay. Now, what were her symptoms prior to diagnosis?
Well, she was very aggravated. She was extremely tired. She was nauseated. She could eat, and 30 minutes after she would eat, she would throw up. She had a lot of chest pains. So those were pretty much the main symptoms that she had.
Okay. And how long did it take for the doctors to find out that it was actually cancer?
Well, I had taken her several different times back and forth to the emergency room, and they kept diagnosing her with costochondritis, which is like where when the muscles in your chest contract back and forth, it just makes your chest sore. But I ended up taking her to a doctor that I wasn't affiliated with, and I must say I thank that doctor, because if it wasn't for her, she probably would have died. She ended up finding out her blood count was extremely low, and that the iron in her blood was 2.3, 2.6, and 2.7.
Okay, and what should the actual count be?
It should be ranging about 11. Between 11 and 12.
Oh, wow. Okay, wow. So you caught it just in time.
Yes.
What was the once finding out? Well, I guess they must have rushed her directly into the hospital, of course. But what is the process after diagnosis?
Well, her process was moved extremely fast. They started her on several rounds of chemo. And once they found out that the chemo was not working for her, because the leukemia was coming back extremely quickly. As soon as the chemo, they were giving her chemo less than probably about 2 weeks, the chemo was coming back extremely fast. So they ended up getting her put on the National Bone Marrow list for a transplant.
So she did have the transplant?
Yeah, she had to have a bone marrow transplant.
Wow. Okay. And as a mother, because you really don't expect these type of things to crop up, these are surprises in life. What is it like going through that experience of your child being sick and no one really being able to diagnose it, and then finding out what the diagnosis is? What is that like?
Well, it was extremely mind-boggling, because I was almost in competition with the doctor as to what was going on with my particular child. Although I had taken her back and forth to the emergency room approximately 22 times before she was even diagnosed, the emergency doctor and I kept saying, he kept saying, why do you keep bringing her back? I keep diagnosing her. And I said, I know my child. This is not what's wrong with my child. Can you please do other tests? So he refused to do, any other testing for her. So I reached out to a doctor again that I had no knowledge of, and I really thank her, because if it was not for her, my child would not be here today.
Yeah, wow. See, I'm getting that same story. I really don't want to say anything publicly bad about doctors, but it's kind of interesting that doctors do not go above and beyond. In regular sports, it's 3 strikes, you're out, right? You got to do something.
Right.
So it almost sounds like a lot of these doctors are kind of insane to be doing the same exact thing and not going beyond certain steps. I know that must be frustrating. How did you hear?
It was extremely frustrating, because I had to put my own knowledge to the test. I had to read up on different things, and I had to almost say, okay, this is a diagnosis here. Well, maybe this is what my child has. And when I would present this to maybe the ER doctor, he was like, no, that's not what she has. And I'm like, okay, something has to be extremely wrong with my child, because my child had never been sick. She had all of her immunizations. She was extremely healthy. She had not been sick or had any major illness in her life. It just came out of the blue.
Do you feel that that when with, because I'm reading how many children are actually, living with cancer, and do you think that should be something that should be like a common test?
I do. I really think that something besides just the yearly physical, they should put in some other testing, because a lot of these kids, they are absolutely healthy, and it comes out of nowhere. So how do we prepare ourselves, or how do we prepare our children for what's about to happen to them? We can't. We just don't know.
Right. Wow. So the chemo, how many times a week did you have to take her? How did that impact your life?
Well, she had several rounds of chemo. She was almost in the hospital for probably about 29 days, between 20 and 29 days at a time, before she would come home. And it had a huge impact on my life, because she had other siblings. It was a strain. I lost my job in the midst of making sure she was taken care of. And if it wasn't for extreme support of family, friends, and I would even go as far as to say the nurses, staff at the hospital, because when they found out that I had, more kids, just not her, but more her siblings, they even pitched in to try to help. They would help babysit some of the kids at the hospital. They would help set up different activities and things for them, or they would, when I couldn't be there full time to watch her, they would watch over her. So, I you have to have a major support system when your child is going through something of this nature.
Right. How many other children do you have?
I have 4 other kids.
And where does she place? Is she the oldest, middle?
Well, she's the 3rd child, and she's the oldest girl.
Okay. And you're a single mom?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot. Okay. So April 27th, then I'll talk to her. I'll talk to your daughter. But so April 27th, and what Aretha is trying to do, you're saying that monies that are being donated, I'm thinking, actually help families supply the services that are needed.
Yes, it does. It does. It doesn't matter if you have the best insurance company. You still have to have an outside plan, because the insurance is only taking care of your child's needs. You still have to worry about your mortgage being paid, gas or back and forth to the hospital, your car note if you have one, or just food for your other families. You also, if you don't stay or live close to the facility where your child is getting treatment at, you have to worry about a place to stay. If you don't have family and relatives that are close, you still have to worry about, your own other personal needs as well. It is really mind-boggling when you put all of those things in one aspect.
Okay, and see, I think those are the things a lot of people really don't know. They, we really don't hear from the family so much. You see commercials, you read, but you really don't know what people go through until you start hearing the major details. It sounds like.
Right, and that's true. And a lot of prayer comes in place, because you sit and you think, well, what did I do wrong? My child had every checkup that she was supposed to have, every doctor's visit. I mean, she was a healthy child, and all of this just came out of nowhere.
Interesting. Okay, thank you for that. I would love to speak to your daughter now, if that was possible.
Sure. Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm pretty good.
Good. Actually, where are you now? Are you in remission with your cancer?
Yes, I am. I'm currently in remission.
Okay. Is there any type of maintenance that you have to do on a daily basis to stay in remission, or?
Not really. They just basically tell you to eat healthy, make the right choices when you choose what to eat, as well as exercise. And that's basically it.
Okay.
And yearly
checkups. Okay. Or do you remember the day that you were diagnosed?
Yes, I do.
And what was that like for you personally, not knowing, your mother taking you back and forth to the doctors and nobody really coming up with a cure. How was that for you at that age?
It was real frustrating. It was tiresome. Just you really didn't know too much of what to do, and you wasn't really knowing so much of what was going on. It was just frustrating.
Were you also fearful?
Very fearful.
Okay. And then after finding out that it was cancer, what were you thinking?
I was shocked. I was scared. It was very life-changing.
Right, right. Now, how did that affect you with school? Like, you're being young.
As far as with school, it basically just changed a lot. I lost a lot of different friends as well for me being in cancer, for me having to do cancer treatments. I mean, I lost friends. I had teachers that was just willing to pass me instead of teach me.
Oh, really?
So basically I was learning where my mom was basically helping me. So it was either me and my mom, or it was really nobody, because the teachers weren't really much help.
Okay. I'm going to get back to that one with your mom. So the losing, why do you think you lost some of your friends? Was it because you were possibly in the hospital a lot, or do you think they were fearful of catching cancer?
I think it was kind of both, basically, and as well as I couldn't do all the things that they could do, or their parents just didn't want them around me anymore.
You're 19. You graduate in May. What are your plans for the rest of your life?
Basically, to become a better mother, as well as I wanted to pursue a career in music as well, so go to school for music.
Okay. You have a child?
Yes, I do. I have a daughter.
Oh, how old?
She's 6 years old.
Oh, wow. Okay. Congratulations. Also, okay, so wait. So were you going through the process of cancer and, because it's 20, this is 2013, that's 27, 2007, doing the math. So when did you had your child in the midst of cancer, or was your cancer in remission at the time?
I had my daughter before I found out I had cancer, and then it was basically like a battle, because my daughter, she has a lot of different medical conditions as well, so we both was in and out of the hospital together, really.
Oh, wow, that's a huge story. That's a documentary right there. Interesting. So, okay. So that affected, do you think, okay, you're both, because medically I'm thinking, if your body was in the midst of developing cancer, possibly while you were carrying your daughter, could that have affected her development?
We're not sure, and that's something we ask as well, but they basically, it's just like a hit and miss. They really just say they don't know and go off of what they think.
Okay. So if you don't mind me asking, what is your daughter diagnosed with?
Oh, wait, that's a list long. She has asthma. She has sickle cell disease, reflux. She has poor weight gain. She is developmentally delayed. She has seizures, and I think ataxia gait.
Wow. Okay, I'll be praying for you and your daughter.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's... the math says that... Yeah, for me the math just says it has to be connected, because those are all development diseases in terms of the baby developing. But that's my non-medical diagnosis. Okay. So a better mom, and you want to go to the music industry is
yes, I do.
Is what you're looking at. Okay, cool. Very good, very good. Are you writing or doing any of your music writing now, or performing?
I'm in the process of writing music. I also because I really want to be an R&B singer. So
I'm in the process of strengthening my voice and learning how to write my music better so that it just won't appeal to me, it'll appeal to everybody.
Okay. Well, you know what? I'll give you a hint. Make it appeal to you, because if it appeals to you, your performances are better. And that's from being a music manager.
Okay.
If you write for yourself, the only reason why a lot of artists are famous is because people see that they're enjoying themselves on stage. So when the audience sees that you're enjoying yourself, they tend to enjoy what it is that you're doing. And it's just a better performance.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. How often did you have to do chemo? And go ahead.
Oh, wait. Chemo, basically, it depended on what they gave me. Sometimes it would be daily. Other times it would be weekly. It just really depended on what they were giving me.
Okay. So there's different types of chemotherapy, or is it different types of drugs that they're putting into your system to kill the cancer?
It's both.
It's both, okay. Now you just do the yearly checkups. When were you... Is your type of cancer a curable cancer?
Yes, it's very curable. It just depends on when they catch it and what they do to stop it, really.
Okay. So now you're just making sure that it doesn't come back.
Yes, sir.
And you said you changed your eating habits. So what type of diet are you pretty much on?
Basically, like, for me, I used to love eating out. Like, every day I could eat out, I would. But once you go through that kind of experience, they more like, you have to go more into eating cooked food, like your home-cooked meals, and not so much of fast food as well, because of the different steroids they use. So, I mean, I still have fast food, but I don't eat it as much as I normally would.
Okay. I am amazed at the teachers and what she was saying about the teachers not wanting to teach her, but just pass her. Could you give me a little bit more insight on your thoughts around that? What was that about?
Well, sure. When she was in treatment and I had her put on homebound studies, it was where she had a lot of teachers that were kind of, versus them trying to actually teach her the material, they would want to try to surpass and give her the answers and things, versus her learning the material. They wanted to just give her the answers and move her on, and I wasn't having it. I'm sorry, I wasn't having it, because I felt like you're just pushing her through. That's not helping her, regardless of whether she's going through treatment or not. You know, she still needs an education. You can't just pass her through the system and expect for her to come out and you're just handing her a diploma, so to speak. No, I'm not. That wasn't good for me.
Right. I hear you on that. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. And do you think it was the cancer, the fact that she was missing class? I'm thinking.
Well, it was because she had a lot of treatment. She missed a lot of her eighth and ninth, and 10th grade, almost 10th grade years. So yes, it was the cancer and the treatment, the type of treatment that she was going through. So yes, it caused her to miss a lot of school.
Okay, so in this case, funds would be great if parents could pay for some type of homeschooling.
Well, it depends on the system, the school system or the district that you're in, because a lot of the school systems do offer homebound studies. It's just the process of getting it started sometimes is a headache, because they take you through havoc trying to get things started for them. It took me almost 2 months just to get her homebound studies started.
Oh, my God. And depending on where a child is in school, the school year could be over by that time.
That's true. That's so true.
Okay. I want to thank Ingra and her daughter Octavia for taking the call and giving us a little insight to her life and their lives, actually. There's a lot going on that we don't know about in individual lives, and these are the reasons why giving is important. We give to help and to cure. We give for hope and love. We give to take care of our fellow man. There's many reasons why we can give. But once you hear the stories, I'm hoping that it impels you to give maybe a little bit more. Some people are blessed, and some people have blessings that turn into testimonies. I want to employ everyone to go to blacktiesforcancer.org. Make sure that you give your donation today. Any amount is welcome, and all amounts are needed. So I want to thank everyone for listening. Thank you for taking part. Thank you for being involved. And if you also want to be a care agent, go to www.dpvn.net/WTB for winning the battles. And that's what we're going to do here. We're going to win another battle in someone else's mind. Thank you.